talk about Shiloh Hendris, the woman who called a 5-year-old a racial slur. My first impression after watching the video, a little bit of white trash. I have to be honest, the kid was 5. I have worked with 5-year-olds for the last 15 years. Absolutely everything they do is out of pocket. They're like little unhinged drunk people. Nothing they do makes sense. A 5-year-old is capable of rifling through somebody's bag and taking things that don't belong to them. Ask any kindergarten teacher. But I realize why so many people are wanting to defend this, because Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood, that they want to praise this woman. But what she did is not praiseworthy. But also on the same hand, please remember that every day that us white people get on this app, we get called racial slurs. Every single day. So if you don't want to be called a racial slur, you also have to stop calling people racial slurs. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. But for the love of God, please leave the children out of it. Adults are stupid, they're gonna do stupid things. But you're a different level of stupid when you bring kids into it. Thanks for coming to my
Hey guys. Hey, listen, did y'all hear about this chick, Shiloh Hendris? If you haven't heard, Shiloh Hendris is this white tea trash woman. I said what I said. She's this white tea trash woman who verbally assaulted a 5-year-old black child with autism, repeatedly calling him the N-word and chasing him through the park. Well, not chasing him, but was going after him to do whatever she felt that she had to do, because she said he took one of her child's toys or something. But there just so happened to be a Hispanic man in that very park who knew the little boy and his family, and he heard her, and he approached her and asked her, did you just call him the N-word? And she kept saying it. Right? If you act like that, that's what I'm gonna call you. Now this child was, again, a 5-year-old autistic child. So he did not communicate in the normal way. He did not react, he did not interact in the normal way because he's autistic. But because she only saw this, she felt it was her duty to go after him, and she was going to assault him if she had got over to him. And the sickest part about this whole thing is she had a baby on her shoulder, on her hip. She had the child may have been maybe 2, maybe 3, on her hip, as she was repeatedly calling this little boy the N-word. So now you guys know where it comes from. You can see they're taught from childhood. They are groomed from childhood to spew hatred. They're taught from the time they're old enough to understand what words are to spew hatred, to act on hatred, and to see people that don't look like you as less than. Now you know where they get it from. Now you know why it has lasted so long, because they keep feeding it to their children. She had a baby on her hip as she was doing it, and she kept saying it, and the baby was right there. So now you know how they learn it. They see their parents doing it. They listen to their parents talking. They watch their parents interact. Anyway, after she did what she did, she had the caucasity to get on social media and cry her white woman tears.
A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. This is Awakened Africa, and I'm your host, Bemu. So, imagine calling a 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word multiple times in a public park, then going online and raising over $750,000 like you're the victim. Sounds unbelievable, right? Okay, now welcome to America, where racism can literally pay you until someone fights back, right? So today we're going to dive into the jaw-dropping story of Shiloh Hendris, a white woman who verbally assaulted a black autistic child, 5-year-old, threatened him, all while holding her own child, nearly her own child. And then he had the audacity to rake in hundreds of thousands from people who saw her as the victim because she said my life is in danger, my family is in danger, I need to migrate from this town to the other town because I feel threatened, right? But here is the twist. She can't touch a single cent. Why? Because a black woman named Kandrea Deone said, "Not today, sister." She blocked it. This story exposes everything, absolutely everything wrong with how our society views race, accountability, and who gets protected when hate goes viral. From the concept of black fatigue to shady fundraising platforms, we're breaking it all down. I'm going to tell you everything, and you're not going to believe how it ends. So, if you're tired of people weaponizing victimhood to shield their racism, and even profit from it, this video is for you, right? So let's talk about how community fought back, froze the racist bug, and why it's a form of justice we need more of. Guys, let us jump straight to the videos. I'll be back with my further commentary.
To her fellow racists. And they got together and they started a GoFundMe page for her. And they got up to about $600,000 the last time I heard. Right? Reward bad behavior. However, there's an interesting little twist that came out today that I thought you guys might enjoy hearing. It seems that while she was sitting up Googling over these 6 figures that had her name on it, just waiting to get her little grubby paws on it, guess what happened? Yes, the account was shut down. She cannot access that money, nor can the people who donated that money get a refund. Yes, honey. It does not pay to be ugly. It does not pay. She just knew. Can you imagine how she had spent that money in her head? And she won't get one red cent of that $600,000+. Thank you, Karma. I love it. It's a beautiful, sweet payback. To get her hopes up. She saw all those figures growing up daily, just getting up there. The figures were just going up higher, higher, higher. She was getting more and more excited. Probably even all over herself, right? Only to find out that she not getting a coin. No, your racism won't be paid off. You won't be paid for your hatred. You won't be paid for your verbal assault. You won't be paid for your lack of character. You won't be paid for your lack of human qualities. You won't be paid for your simple human kindness. You won't be paid for anything, sweetie. Oh, and then this last little bit. I saw another video, and it's supposed to be her sister. And we know her sister. Yes, we do. If you guys remember back when they first started cutting off the food stamps and they first started cutting off the benefits, you remember this white tea woman, toothless front, got on saying, he said he was going to bring down prices and I voted for him and now I'm losing my food stamps. I'm losing my Section 8. I'm just going on. She did a series of videos, right? She was a Trump voter who got caught up in Trump cutting off all those benefits. So you know her. She was a brunette hair, real looking, like her and Meth were on first names. Yeah, that was her. That's her sister. So she's on social media crying, talking about you don't know what her family has went through, and her sister is a beautiful person, and she said, if you act like that, I'm gonna call you that. Girl, didn't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody care. Talking about they're threatening to dox her address, dox my address. Oh well. When you act out, you get called out. Ain't that's what she said to that little boy? Well, when you act up, you get cut up. Suck it up, buttercup. After the day I had, that just made my day. I hope it made yours too. You know we love to giggle. Y'all have a great one. But before I get out of here, I just have one question to ask to Shiloh. Is it great again yet? My friends. They keep asking.
And another thing, if you're one of them people who supported that dumbass white lady who called the little boy the N-word, fuck you. If you don't like someone because of the color of their skin, you're an abhorrent human being. You really aren't even a human being. And I'm gonna tell you one more thing. Listen, that bitch is lucky that it wasn't my child or it wasn't me recording. Because when I tell you the way I would have rocked that bitch's shit.
Yeah, so a lot of people have been asking me, I guess, for clarity on what the end goal is here, right? They're willing to get active, but they want to understand what the plan is. So as I've stated before, Square and Block Inc. have this policy that prevents that, right? They have a policy that's very strict against hate speech, illegal activity, harassment, all of that. Pretty much any ill-gotten gains are not allowed on their platform at all. They have a very clear-cut policy that states they are against that. But what I have found is this company is very selective of who they adhere that policy to, right? So now what we're calling for is action if you've ever worked with them. So if you have ever worked with, this sounds like one of those commercials, right? If you were a loved one, have ever been a victim of Square. But I'm dead serious. If you have ever worked with Square, if you have ever worked with Cash App, Tidal, Afterpay, any of them, if you have ever had your funds frozen for less than harassment or hate speech, if you have ever had your money delayed, if you have ever went through extensive verification processes on Cash App that were unnecessary, right? If you have ever been slightly inconvenienced by these platforms as a customer and they couldn't give you a reason why other than the fact that you violated their policy, then we want you to go to the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, and we want you to file a complaint, right? And I know they are gutting the FTC right now, right? But that ain't our end goal. It's just a paper trail. So we need y'all to file those complaints because the system is still operating. Those complaints will still be there. So once we file those complaints, here's what we're going to do. If they give her so much as a fucking nickel of that money, we will file a class action lawsuit against them. So they can backpedal all they want, but they can't escape their own policy. And in the United States, yes, they do legally have to apply that policy fairly to everyone. And if you've never been a customer, which I find hard to believe because there's so many different services, but if you don't want to file a complaint with the FTC on behalf of yourself, you can just file a complaint with the Attorney General to document the widespread harm that this has caused. All of that is going to be a lump sum for us to muscle them into a corner to freeze those fucking funds.
So intimidated by black women. This is why they didn't want Kamala Harris to become the first black woman president. They are intimidated by black women. Kandrea Deone, the black woman who did all her research, put all her ducks in a row, and shut down Shiloh Hendris, the white woman who thought she was about to walk away with the millions of dollars that they raised for her calling a little autistic black kid the N-word. Not on her watch. That girl did her homework. She did her research. She educated and she knew what she was doing. And if you go look at her stories and listen to her tell it, they tried to play her. And that's how she learned how to do everything that she did, because they tried to shut down her business. So after she did her research, she figured out how to go back and shut her down. So why you think you about to walk away with the millions of dollars for being a racist? Not on her watch. And it took a black woman to be able to do it. So don't tell us what a black woman can't do. That's why they so intimidated by us, because we don't play no games. And when it's something that we passionate about, baby, we gonna get down to the bottom of it. And this is why they so.
Ooh, so let me get this straight. A white teen woman, Shiloh, can raise 700 fucking K for calling a 5-year-old autistic black boy the N-word. But I get on this bitch and call y'all saltine crackers and I get motherfucking banned. So y'all way to allow racism is to say it's under freedom of speech. But I could have swore hate speech was not under the act of freedom of speech. But okay, Y'all really sit up here and show us every day how much y'all dislike black people. If you knew anything about autism, you would know sometimes there's different spectrums of autism. I have a 5-year-old autistic daughter. And at the end of the day, there's different levels and different spectrums. Who's to say that child genuinely did not know what they were doing? And instead of her being an actual mother, because that is what she lacks the fuck in, y'all call that protecting. I call that allowing and teaching her child at that very young age where their mind picks up everything, how to be a racist. But you mean to tell me instead of her saying, oh, would you like to play with the toy? Or you know what? You can't play with that, baby. That's for my child. Like a actual mother with empathy, a true mother would have done. She took that opportunity to be a blatant racist. And instead of y'all holding that hoe accountable, y'all raised $700K for this bitch. And this is why y'all need not to get the fuck on my page and tell me another fuck thing about what I say. This is why I'm always pro-black. Right or fucking wrong, I stand with my fucking people. Why? Because at the end of the day, y'all gonna do the same for y'all. Y'all will sit up here and call us everything underneath the sun. And then piggyback off of our literal hard work to build your generational wealth. And then you have this other YT Palatian on a motherfucking national news saying, oh, I use the N-word. It's nothing. We should be able to use it. Okay, so I should be able to call you everything underneath the sun. And when you step across that line, I should be able to tag in that ass. And see, this is what's going to end up happening. Y'all are going to step or call the wrong black person something, and they're going to tag in that ass. And this is what I think my black people need to start doing. Stop living in fear from these people. Because as you can see, that's why they believe that they are superior to us, because we're worried about police brutality and all of the things that could happen if we start standing up for ourselves. But I would rather stand for something than fall for any motherfucking thing. At this point, don't even cross my path. As a mother of an autistic child, I wish the fuck any of you would. I wish the fuck that would have been my child. I wish the fuck that would have been my child. She would have got that ass whooped so bad, she would have donated that $700K back to everybody who donated to her. And I promise you that. Y'all are picking and choosing the right fucking people. I promise y'all are. Tread the fuck lightly. And it's crazy how she needing to move for the protection of her family. I've been on this app 4 years. Do you know how many death threats I've received? Do you know how many times the Triple K came after me and said things about what they would do to my children on this app? And when I posted proof, everybody said I tried to be a victim. But y'all are literally raising $700K for this fucking girl because she needs to move for the safety of her family. This is how I know you're not really about their life, because I've been in the same motherfucking spot since they doxed my fucking address. Have I left? Fuck no. Will I leave? Fuck no. Why? Because you would never in your goddamn life make me feel like I gotta look over my shoulder because you want to be a racist. Just come fuck around and find out. That's all I say.
I am realizing, because of this outdoor natural light, how white I am, that I probably don't even like show up on the Pantone swatches within the white family. Well, speaking of white, I want to talk about Shiloh Hendris. If you don't know, well, really I want to talk about Kandrea Deone. But if you don't know who Shiloh Hendris is, you clearly have not like been to the internet ever. She is a mom in Rochester, Minnesota. After a 5-year-old at the park, I guess, took some of her kids' stuff, like probably toys, maybe some food, she then felt justified to call this 5-year-old boy the N-word and then physically threaten him by chasing after him. And then a man was filming her, and she then proceeded to call him the N-word over and over again. So what did she do? No, she did not. She actually went home and she started a fundraising campaign. And that fundraising campaign is over $750,000. So this woman could get upwards of $1 million. Who knows where the ceiling is? Cut to Kandrea Deone. Genius. Oh my God, there's a FedEx truck. I'm scared. Kandrea Deone. Genius. What she did was she went to this fundraising platform and she dug into the coding. Like, just the word coding makes me feel like upset and scared. This woman figured out the coding to find that the bank that would be processing all of these payments to this woman who is raising money just for being an that the bank, it's the company Block Inc. Excuse me, I'm talking. The company is Block Inc. I said I'm talking. So what she has listed out on her Instagram profile, like she has a document with, a template of language that you can send to this Block Inc. and its subsidiaries to try to get them to block paying.
So guys, okay, now I hope we've all watched these clips. And now let me rewind this story. And it starts here. Shiloh Hendris was caught on camera in a park yelling racial slurs to a 5-year-old autistic black boy. A Hispanic bystander filmed the whole thing. By the way, salute to that Hispanic bystander. And her response, more slurs, of course. She escalated the situation while holding her own child. That tells all you need to know. This wasn't a one-time snap. This was a learned hate in action. How she got funded? Now, here's the mind blower. After the video went viral, she raised over $750,000 through an online fundraiser. Supporters framed her as a victim of cancel culture, saying she was in danger and just needed to move out of a neighborhood because her life was at stake. Crazy. This is what we mean when we say racism gets rewarded in America. And she didn't apologize. She didn't face consequences. She made money. But who is Kandrea Deone? Kandrea Deone, right? Here comes the digital resistance. A black woman who refused to watch this play out in silence. She did what platforms and corporations often fail to do. She fought back. Kandrea researched the payment processor, identified as block incorporation, and weaponized their own anti-hate speech policy against them. She created sources, rallied a community, and froze Shiloh's access to that money. That's power, man. Right? So, black fatigue versus black fatigue. Let's talk about the black fatigue. So, some white folks used to justify, they use the black fatigue to justify racism. And they're saying they're tired of ghetto behavior or always being called names. That's not fatigue. That's bigotry dressed up as victimhood, right? The real black fatigue, it's centuries of microaggressions, trauma, and watching your people get punished while racists collect checks. Right now, it's business unusual. So, there is the platform that hates accountability, and there is a lot of hypocrisy, by the way. And this case exposes how platforms like GoFundMe and Cash App often apply their rules selectively. Say a slur about a white person, you might get flagged. Yeah, you might get flagged. But racially abuse a black child on camera, you might nearly raise $1 million, all right? And people are now filing FTC complaints and even talking about class action lawsuits to force equal enforcement of these policies. That's what this is about, not revenge, but real accountability. People just need to be accountable of their actions. So the fundraiser was blocked, the money untouchable. Shiloh probably watching that money is there. Well, she gets nothing, she can't access anything. The donors, no refunds. And that's what poetic justice looks like. So it's not it only happened because people don't let the moment fade. They organized the research and they chose to resist as a community. So as I wind up, I can say that racism has no like people always say that racism has no consequences, and this time karma hit the frightened differently, and it was black, female, and unstoppable. So this is just about Shiloh. It's about the ecosystem that allowed this to happen, and how we all need to challenge it, right? So let's keep building pressure on platforms to actually enforce the values they claim to stand for. Let's uplift more people like Kandrea, and let's never stop calling out hate, especially when it targets kids. So if this story moved you, you know what to do. Hit that like button so that this video can be suggested to as many people as possible, so that we can all share this message. Hit that subscribe button, subscribe this channel, support me. Don't forget to leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I hope to see you in my next video. This is Awake in Africa. I've been your host, Bemo. Peace out.